Welcome, guys, to another episode of the podcast, Learn from Experience. Um, I'm here again, BeleeBreezy, also known as Otaku, by Circus mostly. And then we got Circus Madness up in here, my co host.
Hey folks.
Hey, host. What'd you say?
I said, hey folks.
Oh, hey, folks. Okay. Hey, folks. And then, so we're going to talk about, like I said in my little update video with the hike I did. We're gonna talk about the masks that we all wear in society, and what do I mean by that? Really, it's kind of like for me how we all kind of like put up a certain persona or kind of like a alternate alias or identity, kind of like superhero masks and stuff like the Incredibles or like DC Comics, Marvel, all that kind of jazz. We kind of put up fronts for like the outside world, and that's just kind of how society kind of is built built from, and it kind of banks on that kind of concept of like trying to exude certain qualities while also hiding others in order to kind of create like a cohesive a cohesive community or cohesive um environment for us all to kind of coexist together. um you know I kind of had my gripes with that, not gonna lie. I grew up kind of in a I grew up kind of where in an environment and as a in a I grew up as a person who kind of didn't really thrive with that kind of mindset, and also kind of didn't feel comfortable putting up masks and fronts and hiding certain aspects of myself. Um, and I was kind of forced into it in my perspective. But I also grew up as I matured and learned that like sometimes they're putting on masks are kind of necessary in some ways, and that maybe there might be some positives to it, not just cons. But still, in my like rebel heart, deep down inside, I have this like gut feeling that like it's like at least bad for people like me. You know what I mean? Um, as we're gonna talk about this subject, we're gonna hear from my perspective as well as Circus's perspective about this. Um, so yeah,
Good
I hope
times.
good times. I hope you guys enjoy and learn and listen, and also I hope you feel an urge to also share your experiences with this topic of putting on a mask and maybe whether or not that helped you or hurt you, or maybe some other perspective that maybe we're missing. I'd love to hear something even new, something different. Um, we're gonna, I'm gonna give the mic, I guess, so to speak, to Circus to let it to have him be able to talk about his perspective on this.
Right off the bat, I feel like I've had to wear masks in the course of my life, but I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. Albeit now in retrospect, I can see how it can be detrimental in the broader scheme of things. But we're all, learning. We're all growing, and probably in your youth is going to be when this is most prevalent for you to wear a different mask as you're trying to discover who you are. You're trying to find out what hobbies are going to be part of your life for the rest of your life in some cases. And in society, sometimes when you get into different types of hobbies, when you have to wear different masks, it comes with expectations. My point of view is that it becomes very healthy to be able to deal with those expectations if you can dissociate from who you are as a person as opposed to what is expected of you in those scenarios. It makes it very easy to deal with psychologically if you have to put on a mask during a time that in your real life you're going through shit, you're changing how you feel about things, but you are expected to be a good writer. You're expected to be a good musician. You're expected to be good on the field if you're doing tracks, sports, whatever that it is that you're doing. If you are someone's significant other and they rely on you for emotional support, whatever the case may be, These are masks that can allow you to take the brunt of the energy or the strength that it takes to be able to be what that group of people or what an individual person expects out of you.
I like that. In a lot of ways, I do agree. And I do see the value in that, and that's kind of where I kind of maybe that's where I differ. Maybe I just don't see that as putting on masks so much as to having to compartmentalize and become and embody like certain focusing on embodying certain qualities that you already possess in order to do a job, which is basically like foregoing the unnecessary things in order to accomplish a goal or to be there for somebody in need, and you kind of just let other things go by the wayside in order to you know provide or achieve. So I don't know if I would consider that as putting on a mask, but maybe in some retrospect it kind of is similar. Maybe it is in some ways the same. I think it's like a choice. Like, well, I don't know. I think we all kind of put on masks. I think the thing is like I think the thing I really get upset about is like it's one thing to be able to choose to put on masks and like have fun with it and have it be a fun thing because like at some point in my life it was fun putting on different masks and trying on different hats and identities. Kind of brings me back to our identities episode. It was fun, it was like explorative, it was like playful, and it was something that I could be like, oh, I could be anything I want. It's like the being able to see all the potential and all the possibilities. That's the cool part because there's choice. But being forced to put on a mask that you didn't ask for, or being forced to adhere to certain expectations that you didn't ask for, that's when it becomes more of a detriment for me, at least, or maybe for other people as well. Other people that are like me, it becomes more of like a burden that is forced upon them, and the consequences of not following suit and falling in line is kind of like that's where it gets like kind of like resentment kind of society kind of gets like grows a little bit, or resentment of other people who can't really accept difference, accept when people are different. That's when I kind of don't like it so much. It's kind of like, hey, who are you to say that I can't be this way? Who are you to say that I can't express myself the way I want to express myself? Or who are you to try to tell me what I can and can't be, and who I can and who I should and should not be in any given moment? Um, but then like again on the other side, when you go to certain extremes, it starts to fall apart. That kind of mindset. Not everyone should be their entire selves at all times, everywhere. Of course, there are limits, and just like, but then there are also limits to how much you shouldn't like you I believe shouldn't try to enforce that onto others, especially if they're not doing anything all that wrong, or doing anything all that crazy. Um, like outcasting, isolating others, shunning people. Um, but I guess that's like it comes with the territory of being different than other people.